Hammer time. You've assessed your foot. You've figured out that you have some hammer toes, maybe 2 or 3, maybe 1, maybe all 8. Remember, you're probably not going to see that so much in your big toe. You're going to see other things going on there, and we wouldn't really call it a hammer toe. Anyway, you found it, and now what do? And I get it. It's like one tiny little toe that's doing this. It doesn't seem like the end of the world, but it's still important because it means something is going on in your body. There's a reason why that one toe has decided to just go boop and try to find you more stability. So start by getting your foot out. All right, I got my foot propped up here for you. You can see the bottom of my foot. If you start at the ball of your foot as you know it, that's the base of your big toe. Metatarsal phalangeal joint. We'll call it the MTP joint. Right? So that's your first one. And then you can roll down to the second one, and then to the third, fourth, fifth, and you'll feel an extra bony prominence versus here or here. Right? If you notice that one is really tender and it's really prominent, then that is probably meaning that your metatarsal is dropped down. And so that metatarsal phalangeal joint right here is dropped down too. And so like it's more round at the joint. You could already feel the joint more, but now it's not just here, joint, it's here. So you can think about how much pressure that might be on your foot. And that's another reason why people hate to be barefoot. Because they feel the ground, they feel their bones on the ground. I don't blame them. All right, and so what you can do is push it back up, literally. Press on that, find the joint, come up a little bit above it, so you're now on the metatarsal joint, which is here, more in your midfoot, not your toe, and you're pushing it upwards, up. If your foot was flat, you'd be pushing it up towards the ceiling. For me, I'm like pushing it towards me because that's the angle my foot's at. And you'll be able to see the top of the joint becoming more prominent as you push down into it. So you can do this with your hands, or you can do it really easily with a ball, which I've shown before in other videos. We just want to start mobilizing the joints to bring them more into optimal alignment, which is going to improve the whole hammer toe situation. The next thing is trying to mobilize the tissues that are now kind of stuck in that hammer toe space. If you get in between the first and the second, just rub your finger all the way down. You can feel that long bone of the metatarsal, and you're just following it, going right in between 1 and 2, the big toe and the second toe. And then you can feel for the second toe or second metatarsal, move in between the second and the third and run your finger down there. And for some of you, this will be very tender, especially if you have hammer toes, you've had them for a long time, or they can just be really pesky like my one little one, and it gets really sensitive. Be careful that you don't go crazy with this because you have nerves all over your feet and they get irritated pretty easily when you're jamming your finger into them all the time. So you would just go up and down 5, 6, 7, 8 times, and then you can even pull the toe down. So I'm running in between my second and third toe, and I'm pushing my toe down. So I'm in between my toes, in between my metatarsals, and then stretching that big toe down. Not the big toe, then stretching the toe down. So I would go through that with every single digit. And then the final basic thing that I give most people with a pretty significant hammer toes is, and I'm not giving them this, but I'm showing you this so that you can see my foot better. So the foot would just be flat on the ground. And all I want them to do is possibly drag their foot back a little bit just until their toes get totally flattened out. So it would look like this. right? And so just by adding that little bit of friction, it just kind of drags the toes into perfect alignment. I'll show you here. And that's it. They're lifting the heel up and coming back down. And the minute they start to see that hammer toe start to claw down again to where the pressure is now on the tip of the toe, and instead of the whole toe being flat, now it's like this, stop. Because the minute it falls into its old pattern, then we're just teaching it to stay in that pattern and telling it those old ways are fine. Keep going with it. And then that's not the purpose of the exercise. The purpose of the exercise is start re-educating movement patterns. And as small as a movement pattern as that is, it's important because we need all those toes to be flat all together to be able to step off properly. So those are like the 3 things that I would immediately have somebody start working on with hammer toes if that was the one and only issue. And of course, that never is. So if you have questions about your own hammer toes or your own foot and you need further information, then you can book a 20-minute free consult with me, and we can always discuss the possibility of a functional movement assessment where I would take a look at you head to toe, all done virtually, and super simple, super easy. But in the meantime, have fun with looking at your foot and reacquainting yourself with it.